at what we found. It's a big sound in a small town. Far from the bright lights, they're making music every night. Hear what is all around. It's a big sound in a small town. It's a big sound in a small town. It's a big sound in a small town.
Hi, and welcome to Big Sound Small Town. I'm your host, Sandy Carlton, and this is a podcast about the lives and stories of the musicians, writers, artists, and their associates that have their roots in the small towns and communities across America. If you like what you hear, tell somebody. Enjoy.
Time passes slowly, the days are so hard. Each day I seem to fall apart. The memory of you was a ghost in my head. A ghost that seems living, but surely is dead. Why did you take my joy and turn it into pain? Why did you take my life and fill it with your shame? Tell me why you say goodbye instead of goodnight, and I'll hold you tight. Whoa. The memories of you still roam my mind. So leave me alone, I carry on strong. I'll be over you before too long, and all my old feelings with you will be gone. A memory engraved in the stone. And when I feel alone, tears flow like the sea. You know I love you, so why don't you love me too? I think of good moments and tell them goodbye. Well, girl, I break down and cry when I think about you. So why did you take my joy and turn it into pain? Why did you take my life and fill it with your shame? Well, tell me why you say goodbye instead of goodnight, and I'll hold you tight. The memories of you still roam my mind. So me alone. I carry on strong. I'll be over you before too long, and all my old feelings for you will be gone. Just a memory engraved in stone, engraved in stone. So leave me alone, I carry on strong. I'll be over you before too long, and all my old feelings for you will be gone. Just a memory engraved in stone. Just a memory engraved in stone. A memory engraved in stone. A memory engraved in stone.
Alrighty, my name is Andrew Saltz from the band Salty Dog. We're a multi-award-winning touring and recording act from Hickory, North Carolina. I recently just moved to Shelby, and yeah, we most of us are Native Americans, so we kind of have a infusion there of all of our cultural vibes. But,
Sure. Are we talking early? Do you know the band Redbone?
Yes, I do.
Or
Yeah.
are we talking a Redbone vibe, or is this more
A little bit heavier.
a little bit heavier?
More rock and blues.
But are we playing on your tradition, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, with the traditional side of things, we just kind of feel like it's a kind of an obligation to, incorporate those elements
Sure.
into our show and our music.
Yeah. I just wondered. I mean, it's that's a great mission too, as a band, as your cultural heritage.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing, because it gets swept away, as you well know. You know that better than I do, but
And as we were talking about Chris,
yeah,
Chris out there,
we both have a friend who has a similar mission.
he kind of just almost, when I moved up here, reinforced that idea.
Sure.
With me,
Yeah.
reminded me of it.
I mean, and we'll talk about this. Well, actually, while we're on the subject, Chris sometimes tells me that it costs him jobs sometimes if he totally embraces that as, say, part of his publicity to get jobs.
Right.
It's like it's stereotyped that Chris plays flute, which is he said sometimes the flute alone is enough to get him people to go, I don't think so,
Right.
So I know there's some of that you're probably up against if you.
For us, it's a little bit more dependent on the venue, because like if it's a venue that's, let's say, like they're more like a top 40 kind of venue, then we usually
right.
I'm sure the interest there.
I'm sure craft breweries and listening rooms and all work really well.
Oh yeah, festivals. They love it.
Festivals. I mean, that's really the lifeblood these days of music anyway.
Right.
And the hours are better than they used to be, and
oh yeah,
and everybody likes to play festivals. I mean, so all right, let's talk music and where it started for you.
Okay.
For you.
For me, it started in the church, and I started playing at the church that I was raised in, Mountain View Baptist Church in Hickory. And I kind of used to be very, when I was coming up, I didn't really want to play or sing publicly. I didn't want to do anything in the church.
Yeah.
I was too shy, I guess.
Yeah.
But my mom kind of just encouraged me to do that. And
So you had parental support.
oh yeah, even she's a trickster, man. Like we went to.
It's cool.
She's a trickster. You're all good.
Yeah, you're all good. Listen, we take sound effects. It just gives it character. It's kind of like when you get a bump on your guitar. It's no less of a guitar. It just gives it character. So there you go. You added your part. Would you like to introduce the phone dropper?
The phone dropper is my fiance, Jade.
All right, there you go.
But yeah, for me, it started in the church, man. And my mom really encouraged that, almost kind of tricked me into it. One day, the worship team was rehearsing, and I didn't know it. I thought they were just kind of going to meet me, and
Right.
we were just going to all hang out and know that they were actually rehearsing that night. And she's like, we'll just go on up there and hang out and then see what happens. And so I go in there, and as soon as I arrive, she's like, well, I'm going to run to the bank or whatever and come back. And so she leaves, and I run inside, and sure enough, she had already set up an audition and all this stuff for me. So I was kind of like stuck. So I did it, and I just kind of started breaking my shell ever since then, and getting the lineup that I have now. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's
listened,
very much
I have.
what I've always wanted for many years, almost a decade now. So if I could kind of go back and start the band over, I would want this lineup. And it's come a long way.
Did you meet these people through your church, or did that morph? Did your playing at church morph into playing other places?
It kind of prepared myself to just kind of form connections outside of the church and ready myself for the more secular music world.
Did you what instrument did you start out playing?
Drums. Drums is definitely my primary instrument.
Yeah.
And I only picked up keys because, of course, in college we learned that piano was a percussion instrument.
Sure,
percussive
it
instrument.
is.
But then I was like, well, why am I paying somebody to do something that I can play?
Right.
To do something in the band that I can do. So I started just picking it up and trying to force myself to just do it live and, save that money.
Sure, as
honestly.
a band member. Yeah.
And I love it. I've been playing it ever since, and people think that my primary instrument is piano instead of drums. But then ever since then, I've just always kind of faked it on guitar. I don't even really.
Now I understand. You could have, if you'd explained that to me, I'd have told all the rest of the people to kiss my butt. If you'd have told me that I'm a drummer, really, and a keyboard player, and it'd be great to let me have an accompanist, then I would have been by all means bring him. And like I told you yesterday, I got to thinking about it after that, and like I told you, you could bring him if you wanted to. It's my podcast, big deal. I'm sorry, people that's been on here, but the man clearly is going to have to play guitar when he's a drummer and a keyboard player. So it's y'all's fault. Christopher
Hey, we'll
Reed.
see what happens. If the windows break, I'm sorry.
So where did you meet has your band been had the same band members the whole time?
So up until this year, actually, I started the band with a gentleman named John Sutton. He was our drummer. Because I wanted to front the band.
Right.
And then we also found a friend of mine, Caleb Guardiola, he plays in Elevation Church.
Yeah.
And we met each other at like a church meeting, a church gathering event. And then from there, he joined the band, and the three of us started the band about 6 years ago. And with COVID and everything, we had members come and go.
Sure.
But also, John, at the time he was working as like a park ranger, so with his government position, like he had to step down. And then Caleb, his commitment with Elevation Church, because of COVID, it became more of a workload.
Right.
You know, they were doing more
Yeah.
stuff digitally.
Right,
online.
digitally, yeah.
So he stepped down, but he made sure that, you know, the band was, you know, very much intact before he left. So I'm the only original member, but
Right.
Caleb still, you know, is open to coming back and doing
Right.
stuff with us in the studio. But
Yeah.
since then, I've really kind of just reached back out to a lot of my connections
Right.
and gotten the lineup that I always talked to Caleb about. You know,
Right.
Caleb being the only person that we're missing. The rest of us have always kind of been who I wanted to see in the band. You know?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. I mean, that's good. I play in a band with, well, now 2 people that's played together over 20 years and maybe longer than that. And then we used to have a drummer who just retired on us, who played with them probably 20 years too.
Really?
So I was kind of the new guy in,
Yeah.
but then I've been playing with them a pretty good while now too.
Yeah.
So it kind of works. I had to fill in for a kind of a musician legend who had the job that I have now, which is kind of hard. But they were really great and told me just to play and don't worry about that.
Right. That's kind of how we always were.
So, you know, it's
When we started out, we kind of wanted it to be that way too, and we just kept things very simple, and you know, never did anything in the studio that we couldn't then
replicate on stage.
live.
Yeah, yeah,
So the people that we have
That's
now
good.
have no problem
yeah,
following in those folks' footsteps.
yeah. That's good. That's really good.
It's fun, man, especially live, and I'm sure you find this. We have, you know, the new guys in the band now that the lineup that we finally solidified now. We find stuff as a lineup, as musicians, in the songs that we didn't hear
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Well, you know, that's one of those things too that songs take on a different life with different people.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, it may be the same song, but it can take on. You can play it the same way, but it can still take on a new life
yeah.
with the new players. You know, and that's a good thing. So, do you remember playing out your first time?
I think my first time, professionally or just in general.
Oh, let's go professionally.
Professionally would have been with another band. It wasn't mine, but it was a beach band, the Extraordinaires, and I was a member of their band for about a year.
Were you a keyboardist or a drummer?
I was actually like a part-time drummer,
Right.
full-time percussionist.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. I understand that.
I went along with them, and I just really saw, you know, the road,
Yeah, it's a good learning experience.
the way,
A good learning experience.
the lay of the land, pretty much.
Sure.
And I was only like, I think 16, 17.
Yeah,
But then after that, I had stepped down because I was going to college.
Right.
I went to Gaston
Yeah.
Community College
Yeah.
and then to Appalachian.
yeah.
So my hands were
I'm an
full. So I had to,
Appalachian graduate.
all right. Yeah.
I have a master's from Appalachian, so
Well, there we go.
there's a lot of good musicians come out of Appalachian.
This interview just got a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it really it has. You know, I mean, you can start naming off a list of
And did you go for music?
no, I did not. I should have, but I didn't. No, did you?
I did.
That's great.
But
I wanted to, but when I was a kid, I had a hard decision to make. When I was a kid, a teacher got me in the little penny stock club, and man, I just love stocks and financing. So that's what I went. I went into, and you know, it was good. But I played music the whole time I lived in Boone. I played, you know, there. Also, I'm of the age where I got drafted into the Army.
oh wow.
And then I took my GI Bill and went. I started in college and wound up playing. I went on an athletic scholarship, but instead of going to run in the morning like I was supposed to, I couldn't get up because I had played all night the night before or half the night. I couldn't get up, so I lost the scholarship. That was at Tulane in New Orleans. But so, because you can play all night long and all day there.
Yeah.
So I went in the Army and then came back and took my GI Bill and went to college. So, but yeah, sometimes I wish I had done it to people. It's a good foundation. I had a pretty good, solid music foundation.
Yeah.
But going to school to do it is the best way. You get the solid foundation, and then you can improvise off of that, which is, well, some people can.
That's kind of how I did it, and that's why I wanted to go. Just because I wanted to kind of get out on my own, outside of the Extraordinaires, which is what I did, and then that's kind of how my band started. I actually formed my band during college, and when I went for music, but also like broadcasting and production.
Yeah, sure.
So we had studios set up all day, and
that's too cool.
Just check them out, rent the space.
Yeah.
And so I actually made my first album, if you can call it that. It's like a little experimental thing.
Yeah.
In college.
Would that have been like an LP length or an EP length?
It was definitely LP.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like 20+ tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Just
yeah,
experimental
yeah.
stuff. But I
You
had a
still
lot
like
of people
it?
come in. My professors come in,
Right.
and I would even use my tracks as, like, if we had a project coming up,
Sure.
but we wanted a song,
Right.
I used my own songs to kind of get his
Sure.
criticism without him
Yeah.
realizing,
That's
this
pretty
is an
cool.
album that he's created.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, that's a good foundation. I mean, it's an excellent foundation because do you know a guy locally, Justin Harper?
No, I don't.
You'll probably, if you're around here. There's a lot of good musicians here that went through.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll
program.
learn.
They have one of my favorites is do you know who David and Gillian Welch are? You need to look them up. They're big time. I would say folk American act, but they produce all the records, the vinyl records out of Nashville for every act.
Wow.
Beside doing their own thing. But there's a boy who went to Appalachian who is in charge of all that for them, and he was a music major at Appalachian. So, of course, he moved to Nashville to be a player, but that don't always happen.
And see, that was kind of like my thing. I went from just a education to kind of self-education, but also learning from the guys I was playing with.
Yeah.
That's what taught me the best was just, and even people as far as like here recently I've been going to jams and stuff, open mics. Had my own open mic here up until the holiday.
Yeah. To here recently then.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I play with people like Ben Gatlin, other
Yeah, I know
players,
Ben.
that are more guitar based, but kind of translated that to keys by watching them, and we learn from each other.
Ben's very good.
Oh yeah,
Ben's very good. He is.
I've loved coming up here and meeting everybody and just really just learning from them.
Yeah, there's some really fine musicians here. As you can tell about this town, I mean, there's a street light right out here with a guitar on top of it. You got
really?
Earl Scruggs in the alley over here, a mural, Don Gibson on the side of a wall over here, the Don Gibson Theater, Earl Scruggs Center. This is a music town, and the musicians here are really good and diverse. There's a lot of different music here.
Yeah. And that's what I found, and also a big appreciation for the differences.
Yeah, there is. I mean,
Taste.
sure. I mean, it's one of the things that There's somebody in this town that does every genre of music you can think of, you know?
I mean, I came here and I told some folks, I have this band, we're Native American rock, and then they were like, oh, well, do you know Chris Free? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
there's somebody that does that.
Oh, yeah. Which is a prime example, really. I mean, you know, now there's two, you know?
I would understand if somebody told me, you know, rock or, you know, blues or something, or folk. But to have that extra element in there and someone else, you know, be doing something similar.
And Chris has done real well at that, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
that's inspiring to come to a town, you know, as a new guy and, you know, not
and
really
him welcome you. I mean, it's not like a competition, you know?
You know, I had come here for years and played at Dragonfly and other places, just playing gigs, but never knew the extent of who was on the town and just the appreciation.
Chris's band is really talented, too.
Oh, yeah. And see, I met Eric.
Yeah, you know Eric. Eric make you picture?
Yeah. I was going to tell you that, He was making that book.
Yeah, he made mine too.
Photo book, that scrapbook. And
he's a very talented guy too.
I met him through that and that project. And I mean, it's just been like that ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you
met her.
Really? Through
the Vintage Dog.
Oh, really?
Her parents own that bar. And
your parents own the Vintage Dog. Okay, then I'll give you a little bit here while we're at it. I guess you know Buster Kendrick. Yeah, exactly. Buster and I are friends. He's done the podcast. I guess you know Casey.
I do.
She has done the podcast. So see, it's a small world. It's they've done that, and I've known Buster. Buster's older than I am, but I've known Buster a long time. I played music with Buster. So
let's see, a good friend of mine, Joanne. She was at a jam with me with Ben. He does a jam up at Winter Circle.
At the Winter Circle.
And I was up there, and she's like, you need to come out to the Vintage Dog. And I was like, what is that? Like, where is that at? She's like, oh, it's a little hole in the wall, you know, up near Shelby. And I'm like, okay, well, that's where I'm at. So I'll head over. And that's how I met Hane.
Oh, you know Hank. Oh, yeah.
So
that is another
his jam.
Extremely talented. Hane is extremely talented. You know he's a hot air balloon pilot.
I did not.
He got married.
I know he has high flying.
Yeah, he does have high flying.
Maybe that's where that song came from.
It is, actually. He got married and left in a hot air balloon.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember every time he introduces a song, he talks about a balloon. And I'm like, what is he talking about?
That's what he's talking about. Also,
right.
Have you ever seen his artwork?
I have. Well, I've seen some of it, but not.
Oh, he is a very talented,
really
talented artist. Yeah.
Wow.
Hane, you might be a better artist than you are songwriter.
And I have to credit him. Like, if it wasn't for his jam or Joanne, I mean, I would have never met her.
Sure. I mean, and
it's crazy.
And Hane has a good. Hane's been on the program. I mean, I've known Hane forever. Hane's been a real big part of music in this community for years and years.
Oh yeah.
So,
and he was, you know, second to Chris. Like, he was definitely someone that just welcomed me to the town. And
they're both good people. I think highly of both of them.
Everyone has just been so welcoming.
And the Vintage Dog has done really well. It has. It's done. You know, I'll give you a prime example too of Shelby. The night before Thanksgiving, there was 5 music events going on in this town, if you count Boiling Springs as being part, you know. And everybody at all the venues had big crowds.
Yeah.
So that's how supportive it was. I know y'all had a big crowd that was standing room only because it didn't matter, don't. Mm-hmm. A guy who plays in the band with me also plays in Matter Don't. That's his second band.
Okay.
Danny Parker. I don't know if you know Danny or not. you probably don't need to know Danny. No,
It's a small world, man.
it is, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. So, what percentage of your show is, native music?
So with all of our originals, what we do, or what I try to infuse as the songwriter, the primary songwriter of the group, I really try to just put in elements as far as instrumentation, or like kind of like Chris does.
Yeah.
But through we have drums and all
Right.
sorts of stuff that we use on stage. It's not really so much as far as I'm Cherokee, so
Right.
I'm not really speaking in Cherokee
Right.
language.
Right.
But we definitely keep the traditional music, and I don't know, it's really hard to explain. We keep those vibes, and we kind of just add them to our already existing
stuff.
stuff,
When you write, do you write with that in?
So I
in
usually
mind?
primarily write on piano.
Yeah.
That's how I always start.
Right.
And I kind of do music and words at the same time.
Yeah.
I'll have an idea of what I want to write about, and
Mm-hmm.
then I just play the piano and kind of connect the dots in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Just
I do understand.
mix and match. And I might even have words written out, and I'm sure you've done it like this, or anyone that's written a song before, you'll have words that you have written out, but you just kind of let them sit.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
you might even plan on having them in this song, but then change your mind and take that paragraph and put it
Yeah.
in that song, or
Sure.
whatnot. So
Stealing
that's
from
kinda how I
yourself,
am. But as far as native stuff, I just, like, we have the drums on stage, we have the different regalia and all that,
Right.
decorative stuff.
You
that-
guys do covers too?
Oh yeah.
You have to do covers to work. I mean,
And see, that's what we do.
nobody
We try
really
to-
wants to do that, but you do if you want to
Anything
work.
from like Watchtower
Yeah.
to, Leonard Skinner even.
Yeah.
We really try to put in the native elements to the covers and the originals.
Right.
Whether it's, I'm not someone who's experienced on native flute like Chris. So what
Right.
I do is, on my keys, I just find a patch that
Right.
sounds.
Yeah. It sounds that way.
indigenous.
Yeah. Sure.
That's kind of how we do it, but it's keeping it very progressive and modern. So that's kind of how we get to still play in some of those top 40 bars.
Sure, because you do the covers
Right.
and you just add that element to it,
Right.
which is really unique,
And it's very much like when we play Skinner, we don't play the normal stuff.
Right.
We play like On the Hunt and
Right.
songs that might not be as popular, but it's still very much
Well,
material.
It's funny that you mentioned that. Last night I interviewed a guy named Woody Wood. If
Yeah.
you don't know, Woody, fantastic musician. Well, all right. So Woody played with Artemis Pyle.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah, he
ran into
put-
him at a Catawba Brewing in Morganton.
Yeah. Okay. He played with Artemis, and he told him we're gonna play Skinnerd,
Okay.
but the record company already has a Skinnerd cover out there, and Gary Washington's in the band. I mean, the current Skinnerd. What Artemis was saying is nothing more than a tribute band. It's not really Leonard Skinnerd anymore.
Yeah.
So he told Woody, go out there and play Skinnerd any way you want to. It's all about our version of it, because you're not going to copy what one guitar instead of three. I mean, he said, so, go put your stamp on it, which is pretty cool,
Yeah.
which is obviously what you're doing.
Yeah, we kind of just put the cultural stamp, the elements in the music and
Yeah.
on stage with our performance. And I had this dream, and I still do, as far as like with our stage design and our performance. I have a couple of friends up in Cherokee that I know work through the the show that they put on up there, Unto These Hills.
Unto These Hills, yeah.
And just dancers and folks, and
Dancers
I wanted
would
to
be
really
too
get
cool.
that, as an element for
Right.
our show. Add that in front.
Actually, if you had a big place, or you did a festival to have
Right.
dancers, would be just. I'm paying to come watch. You know, I mean, it would be too cool.
And see, a lot of our shows,
And
even
different.
with the festival stuff, like I think the most we've ever seen charged for one of our festivals that we played at was like $20 admission.
Yeah, I mean that's
So, and all of our shows that we do primarily are free.
covering. You get paid by the bar. Yeah,
And that's, I mean, people have differences of opinions on that, but we love that because
I love it.
we get what we, deserve,
Yeah.
rightfully.
Well,
But people get to come. And
yeah, they get to come, and it's easier to get people out for free, and
Right.
let
Exactly.
where you're playing make the money, and then pay you, and you get tips too to boot, as opposed to
exactly where I was going.
charge to get in, and then wind up playing for 3 people.
Right.
You know, which I'd rather have a crowd full and take my chances on tips and what the bar owner has offered me is to play for, okay, you get the door, but or part of the door, but 10 people show up.
Yeah.
Well, oops.
Yeah.
I'd rather be crowded and full. Vintage Dog.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. You take a venue that size, it's full. You're not playing to an empty room. Dragonfly, Recycle, they're not. You're playing for a crowd of people.
Right.
So, which makes it better. It's more fun.
And some of these bigger bands, I'm sure they're like us as far as like we're really trying to expand and be more regional so we can come back to places like Shelby
Sure.
and have places like the Dog.
Are you going
and
to?
just pack them out?
Are you going to? Do you have an agent? You work with an agent?
I actually I'm talking to one, but it's really just been on the discussion side of things. And
I
as
mean,
far
so
as
you
next
do all
year-
the booking, but you do the whole shebang.
Yes, I do.
right?
Yeah,
You're the booking agent, the tour manager.
Pretty much so. But I've kept it kind of really reasonable with everybody. Everybody's really happy with how I do things, and
Yeah.
we're looking at an endorsement next year.
That's great.
And we're just trying to find someone I am
Yeah, exactly.
to help me on that workload
Sure.
as far as booking.
Yeah.
But-
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. That's the worst part of the business is booking.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make the calls, or these days you can do emails and stuff, but sometimes it takes forever to hear back, and sometimes you get to run around. I mean, it's the worst part.
Right.
Whereas, you have to pay a booking agent, but they can go actually to the source and they know them, so it's not like, oh, it's Sandy again. Nah, don't. Nah. But if you're your agent, they go, oh yeah, man, we don't like Sandy, but they got 6 other acts we like, so we're gonna book him anyway. So the booking agent will keep using us. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
There is a bit of that,
Yeah.
So,
Kind of just that.
you got a lot of shows lined up.
Oh
for-
yeah,
for-
yeah.
No,
As
that's
far as
good.
next year, we have a run that we're going to do down at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And come back up to South Carolina. Then we're going to try to do the same thing up in Georgia.
That's
I'm gonna
good.
Try to, and then possibly Tennessee.
Ah,
But then we have
so you
a lot
are
of
really
stuff just sprinkled through.
you
here.
really are being regional. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Shelby. As far as local stuff, we'll go from Shelby to Hickory to Mooresville, Salisbury,
Charlotte, Kings Mountain.
Charlotte, everywhere.
Actually, Kings Mountain actually has a brewery now, don't they?
Yeah.
So I don't know if they book bands or not. Yeah, I believe they do, because I believe a girl who's been on the show and that I know, Rachel Pinson, I believe she booked somewhere in Kings Mountain.
Yeah.
So
And Gastonia, like I can't
Yeah,
leave them out.
Gastonia.
And, there's just so much.
you guys play the Winter Circle?
We one time, and I've played there just for the jams.
Yeah.
In support of Ben.
Yeah. Kind of like
but-
Freeman's. You've been-
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Different
place
crowd.
like that. And,
Different crowd though.
Yeah.
Totally different crowd.
And see, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to really kind of almost in the business mindset of things, look at where we're playing and who bought the merch, who
Right, who, yeah.
really appreciated what
Yeah.
we're presenting, and then also understood what we were presenting. They
Sure,
were
exactly.
too drunk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean,
Actually remembered what we did
exactly.
the next day.
Well, drunk is fun as long as they're spending money,
Right.
buying
Or
merchandise.
get drunk at my show if you've paid.
Oh, if you paid, yeah. But yeah, I do understand that. And there's some places that you play that you like to play. Some other places you play, well, they pay good, but I don't really like playing there. There's a bit of that. You have
had a
to
few of
balance
those.
that. It's like, actually, I'm playing.
Rent's coming up.
Yep, exactly.
Child support.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. I'm playing a Christmas party this coming Saturday night in Union Mills,
Oh, okay.
which is in the middle of nowhere. And, I don't really like to do Christmas jobs like that or parties, but they have too much money.
Okay.
Yeah, they're paying us way more than they should. So, yeah, we're going to do it. We even added some songs that just for them that they like that truthfully I probably wouldn't do.
And see, that's kind of where we're at too. I'll have to try to make it out to that. We're doing a Christmas show on the 17th
Yeah,
with Chris and a lot of people with the Rooster.
yeah. And we're doing
over at Joy.
we're doing actually I'm doing one here in town for everybody that's been on the show. It's a big sound small town Christmas show, and you can come and do a Christmas tune.
Yeah. Okay.
That's on the 16th of
Oh, all right.
December.
I'll have to come by.
So do come by.
Sure.
If you got a song that you want to do,
Oh, see, yeah, that's. I'm like you. We've learned all these new tunes that
Yeah.
I really would have only learned for a Christmas
sure.
show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And we've never had one up until this year.
Well,
We've
we
always
have
done
a
New Year's, but not.
real eccentric Christmas list. I play with a guy named Kevin Bridges, and Kevin and I have the most off-the-wall Christmas songs you've ever done, and we don't really have to ever worry about anybody coming and doing what we're going to do,
Yeah.
with the exception of Merry Christmas from the Family. I know you know that song, Robert Earl Keen. So everybody wants to do that, but
Right.
outside of that, we do some really strange Christmas songs. So the Kinks actually have a Christmas song, if you know who they are. And
Yeah.
it's fun. It's fun, creative. So what else you got going on? What else do I need to know?
Well, we're trying to do a double hitter on New Year's, which is kind of just nuts. But
That is
trying
kinda.
to do that. Can't really definitively say yet. Well, I know we're going to do something on New Year's. I just don't know if we're going to do one or two shows. But we've been
2 shows
we've
is
been
nice.
playing a lot with a place in Gastonia, Citycade.
Yeah.
It's a little arcade, and they had us for a show, and then they had us back for Halloween and now for
Yeah.
New Year's. And so we're definitely gonna do that, and then gonna try to do something up at Jekyll and Hyde in Belmont.
Yeah. I know where that is.
But so that's New Year's, and then we're just, other than the 17th, we're just taking it easy. And now the 16th, I'll
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah, that's great. So it's
But next year's really when we're focusing.
you thinking
home.
about new recordings?
Oh yeah, we have a couple of songs we're going to be putting out. We did. I know I mentioned my first little experimental album.
Right.
I did that, and then we did our first, like a freshman album, back in 2019 called Destination Heartbreak. It was like a trilogy that we then condensed back down, so we had all 3 parts, and then we
Right.
had one kind of compilation of those 3 parts.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
And that was very experimental, but also really probably as acoustic as this band could ever be.
Right.
So it sounds much different than what we've been
Is
putting
that
out
stuff
now.
available? You can plug
yeah.
it if you want to.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead,
it's out
plug it.
everywhere.
iTunes, Spotify.
But then we did this year. We put out a little EP, about 6 tracks or so, and we we really kind of honed in on our sound, and I started writing more collectively with the guys. I
Right.
always wrote the songs and then presented them,
And now it's more of a co-write
Right.
type thing.
which is what I've always wanted, but I just wanted to make sure that I had the lineup
Right.
right before I
Yeah,
started doing that more freely and openly with that.
Co-writing
With
is
that side of things, because the writing is very important.
It is, and co-writing is such a strange thing. I mean, or it has been for me over the years.
Right.
Some ideas I don't know that I want to share, but then other ideas, a lot of times I get stuck.
See,
know?
for me, the hardest part is presenting to my guides, because I'll have an idea and then I kind of leave it up to their reaction.
Right.
I'm like, I got this song, and then they're like, okay, let us hear it. And then,
Yeah,
if
we get from that.
they're like, oh man, that sucks. And I'm like,
That sucks. Or
which they would never say it like that.
that would be good if you took this and take
Right,
that out,
right.
which is constructive. I mean, that is a good thing to have. I mean, sometimes I'll like a song and then I'll do it, and I would rather you say, San, you need to fix that. It's a pretty good song up to that point, but then it falls apart.
And see, we all have different, roots
Yeah.
in different genres. Like mine are definitely, neo to alternative rock,
Right.
like 90s rock.
Yeah.
But then we have like our drummer's a metalhead.
Yeah.
And then our guitarist is very like 80s rock.
Sure.
So it's like your classic rock sound. And then our bassist is blues, very much blues. Used to play with Delbert McClinton.
I know Delbert. I know him personally.
So
yeah, I know Delbert.
we're together. We're just very much able to do that. And now it's like breathing. I mean,
That's good.
They'll just be like, oh, you need to change it like that. I'm like, oh, that's what I was missing there.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's
but-
good when your band's at that state.
Right. We did on that EP. We did, and it's just a self-titled EP.
Right.
We did a couple of songs where Caleb was still in the mix of things, and then kind of just presented one song with the new solidified
Right.
lineup. And so now we're really wanting to push out some more songs,
Right.
and we'll probably put these on to a compilation album of everything.
Yeah. Well,
Try to really make a full
sure.
circle
Sure.
and connect
Yeah, I
the dots for
understand that.
people.
Again, these days it's kind of come full circle to where you're back to releasing individual cuts like
Oh,
in the
yeah.
days of 45s, and then like, okay, you got your CD probably pretty much recorded, but you're releasing one, and then at a certain point you just release the whole work, which is cool. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people can work on one or two songs, and then, I mean, that can have a downside too. You can hear those two songs and think, God, these guys are great. Then they get there and it's like, oh, they had two good songs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it works both ways.
And see, what I've been doing is at the same time that my band is writing with me, I'm also writing, at a quicker pace in a way. So I'm writing more than my band
Right.
is writing collectively. But what I do is if I think this song is going to be more fitting for just
For you and not the
yeah,
band.
because I've learned them
Yeah.
now so well, and I kind of almost can anticipate exactly what they're gonna say
Yeah.
Towards a song. So if I know that they don't like this particular tune, or it probably wouldn't fit, then
Right.
I just hold off on it. And what I'm going to do is make my first solo album.
Keep those
officially.
yourself. Yeah.
And I'll probably do like McCartney, just have like a 1, a 2, and a 3, and
Yeah.
keep going from there over time.
Sure.
And then, I don't know, I've even thought about, hell, like writing a book, a memoir, some stuff down the road.
Sure.
But trying to keep my band involved as much as I can.
That's good.
But also, like, perform just as much as we're writing.
Right.
Have a well-balanced. I don't want them to get bored.
Yeah. I do understand that.
Musicians get bored sometimes.
They get
They're not
bored.
playing.
Yeah, they do. And the bad thing about musicians too is, being in a band is a lot of hurry up and wait. You know,
Yeah.
you go, you sit up, and that's where you get in trouble too. You know, you got all that downtime, so yeah, it's the downfall of a lot of musicians is the hurry up and wait time.
Oh, yeah,
So,
for sure.
well, I appreciate you coming out and doing this today.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, it's been a privilege.
All right, thank
you
you.
for the opportunity.
All right, thank you.
I've only known you for 1 minute, but just let me tell you something. I was just fine, a guy living on my own. I hadn't had a good time, I wasn't myself in a long time. Every time you go away, don't feel like you have to force the feelings to change. And goodbye you could say, but Sarah, refrain. 'Cause I'm running out of breath to hold, and we're melting away. I'm burning inside you, I wanna feel safe inside. I never loved this way again, no. I never feel the same again. And it's been too long, and now I'm faded out. I'm all burnt out. Should be doing the right things and not the wrong things, but the doubts get in the way. I'm probably overthinking, running backwards and never seeing. I'm already descending to the places you thrive in. And I hold you tighter, the future looks brighter, but you're always hurt and you don't know why. I'm not asking why. Just come back when your condition can't scoot over, and it's tattooed your shoulder. Ooh, because I'm burning inside you, I wanna feel safe inside. No, I'll never love this way again, no. I'll never feel the same again. This way again, no. I'll never feel the same again. Go ask her. Go ask her. I just wanna keep things real, girl. I just don't wanna wait in line. I'll go ask her. I'll go ask her. Go ask her.